both mid-echelon, brothers, so to speak. I suppose we can share a secret. It will be disastrous. I firmly believe it will be disastrous, Mr. Bartle." He moved closer to the tall man. "I recall a secret administrative directive we received here 20 years ago concerning just that. In essence, it stated that, though music therapy has its great advantages, if the pattern of performance were broken or altered, a definite erratic emotional reaction would develop on the part of the citizens. That was 20 years ago, and I shudder to think what might be the response now, especially if the cast were completely foreign to the recipient." He gave a little shudder to emphasize the horror of the occurrence. "It would make psychotics of the entire citizenry. That's what would happen, a nation of psychotics." "The fellow who didn't hear the miscast would be top dog, eh, Pettigill? He would call his shots." Pettigill twirled the watch chain faster between a forefinger and thumb. "No, he'd gain nothing," he said, staring as though hypnotized by the whirling gold chain. "It would take more than one sane person to control the derelict population. Perhaps two," he mumbled. "Yes, I think perhaps two could." "You and who else, Pettigill?" Pettigill stepped back and drew himself erect. "What? You actually entertain the idea? He laughed dryly. "Oh, you're pulling my leg, eh, Mr. Bartle?" "I suppose I am." "Well, such a remark gives one a jolt, if you know what I mean. Even though we are speaking of a hypothetical occurrence, we must be cautious about such talk, Mr. Bartle. Although our government is a benevolent organization, it is ill disposed toward such ideas." He cleared his throat. "Now, is there anything else I can tell you about the center?" Bartle arose from the chair, stuffing the scrap paper and unused pencil back in his pocket. "Thanks, no," he said. "I think this'll cover it. Oh, yes, the article will appear in this Sunday's edition. Thanks, Pettigill, for giving me your time." "Oh, I wish to thank you, Mr. Bartle. Being featured in a bulletin article is the ultimate to a man such as I, a man whose only wishes are to serve his country and his brothers." "I'm sure you're doing both with great efficiency," Bartle said as he apathetically shook Pettigill's hand and started toward the door. "A moment, Mr. Bartle," the little man called. Bartle stopped and turned. "I perceive, Mr. Bartle, you are a man of exceptional ability," Pettigill said and cleared his throat. "It seems a shame to waste such talent. It should be directed toward some definite goal. Do you understand what I mean? After all, we're all brothers, you know. It would be for my benefit as well as yours." Sure, brother," Bartle snorted and left. He started for the paper office, but decided to let the story go until morning. What the hell, he had a stock format for all such articles. The people were the same, selfless, heroic type, citizens working for the mutual good of all. Only the names were different. And yet this Pettigill had disturbed him. Perhaps it was something he had said that Bartle could not remember. He walked into his warm flat and extracted the pre-cooked meal from the electro oven. He ate with little relish, abstractly thinking of the foolish little cog in the governmental machine he had talked with that afternoon. Or was Pettigill that foolish little cog? Bartle could not help but feel there was something deep inside him that did not show in that wizened and seemingly open little face. He thought about it the rest of the evening. He looked at the clock on the night table. 2300 hours. Pettigill's lullaby hour, he thought. Bartle chuckled and switched off the bed light. He was asleep before the puffs of air had escaped from under the covers he pulled over himself. When the phone rang at 0300, Bartle was strangely not surprised, although consciously he was expecting no call. "Hello," he said sleepily. "Bartle, this is Pettigill." The voice was Pettigill's, but the nervous, timid quality was gone. "I assume you did not hear the 2300 cast." You assume correctly, Pettigill. What do you want? Come on over to the center. We'll split a fifth of former section secretary Andrew's scotch. What the hell do you mean? Were you serious about that therapy revolution we were talking about this afternoon? I'm always serious. So what? Excellent, excellent, Pettigill laughed. I've spent 30 years just waiting for such a man as you. No, I'm serious, my cynical friend. What position would you like in the new government? Let's see. Why don't you make my descendants real peachy happy and make me, say, Administrator of Civilian Relations? That sounds big and important. Fine, fine. Tell me, Bartle, how are your relations with psychotics? Bartle leapt to the floor. Instantly he recalled what Pettigill had said that had disturbed him. When they had been discussing the repercussions of a miscast, Pettigill had said, "It will be disastrous," and not, "It would be disastrous." The devil had been planning just such a thing for God knows how long. "How many of 'em, Pettigill?" Bartle asked. "A lot, Bartle, a lot," the little man answered. "I would say 170 million. I might even say a nation of psychotics." He giggled again. A smile sliced through Bartle's sallow cheeks. "My relations with them would be the best. Keep that scotch handy, Pettigill. I'll be right over." End of Tape Jockey by Tom Leahy.